Good morning and bright suns to all of you. We hope you're having a splendid day. We hope you're staying inside. We hope you're planning inside. So I'm going to give you guys all a second. Just go get your coffee, get your eggs, whatever. If you're on, if the time zone's different, if it's lunchtime, if it's dinner time, just get whatever you need. Come back. Let's sit. Let's talk. Let's have a good time. Today we've got a really good show of bright suns for you. It's going to be a lot of fun. Robin Vogt is going to join me towards the end. We're going to talk about the Making Star Wars scoop, the Jason Ward scoop that Michael Biehn will be appearing in Mandalorian Season 2. We have a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of fun talking about that one as that one comes up. We're going to do a movie review. One thing we're going to do a few times a week on this show is we're going to review movies that aren't Star Wars. They're not Star Wars movies, but they have a Star Wars connection. And today, Andrew Fantasia has picked his movie. Guys, I'm sick of those too early. His movie to review. It's going to be a lot of fun, so stay tuned from that. And of course, we're going to start things off right now. I'm just going to go right into it. Right off the bat, we're going to go here, going to load it up. We're going to have Matt at Blue Bantha Milk Co. He's going to talk to us a little bit about what he's doing during isolation. Just remember, guys, it's not isolating yourselves isn't about you necessarily. It's about everyone around you. It's about getting back to normalcy. So while you might think you're healthy and you're good and you're fine, you don't need to. You can go out and party, or not party, but go out and I don't even like going to the stores right now. It's not about us. It's bigger than us, and sometimes you got to respect that and appreciate that. So here's Matt over at Blue Bantha Milk Co. to talk about his isolation story and what he's doing to pass the time.
Hey, it's Matt from Blue Bantha Milk Co. here, and I'm sitting at home in Melbourne right now, isolating. If you're not isolating, isolate. Don't not isolate. Anyway, I'm coming from my bedroom right now, I'm keeping myself pretty busy. Like, I'm working from home, like a lot of us are. I normally work from home anyway. That's just kind of the nature of what I do in my day job. So I'm kind of set up for it. Sorry to brag, but systems are in place and it's just business as usual. So no change there. That's all good. My partner, she's working from home as well. So we're kind of tripping over each other a bit. We live in a one-bedroom. It's a big one-bedroom, but still we're tripping over each other a little bit. But yeah, that happens, and we're fine with that. We've been forced to kind of like plan our cooking a lot more than normal because we live really close to two supermarkets, and normally we don't bother doing big shops. We just go, "Oh, what do you want for dinner tonight?" And we'll just go, we'll get it, we'll come back and we'll cook it, and that's it. It's done. And there's tons of restaurants near us as well. So that's a bit of a change for us. We've got actual food in our pantry and our fridge, like quite a bit. Not like stockpiling levels, just normal, healthy levels of food. So yeah, we're planning meals, we're cooking more, and that's keeping us busy. Sean and I work remotely on the channel anyway, and so that's been no change for us. We're continuing to just send our messages back and forth to plan for new content and all of that sort of stuff, which is, it always keeps us busy. Like, doing video for YouTube takes a lot. It really does. There's a lot of time in that. So busy there. I haven't played any video games, which is interesting. I would have thought that I would have jumped on that, but nope, haven't done that. I finally got caught up with the Clone Wars animated series, and I'm completely up to date. So that's good. I've been chipping away at that for months now. I'm growing this neck beard. I haven't shaved. So look at that. It's like I'm going to join it to this, and I'm going to get a Ned Kelly beard. And if you don't know who Ned Kelly is, Google that. That'll take you 3 seconds of Googling if you're bored, and then there's probably a few minutes of either watching a video or reading an article about who that guy was. I'm sure you'd recognize him if you know anything about Australia. And if you need anything else to do while you're bored, check out our channel. We'll keep making content if you keep watching it. We might be in our pajamas for some of it. I mean, I'm in my pajamas now. I'm probably going to need new pajamas because I'm wearing these ones out. Anyway, that's it. So look after yourselves and look after all the people around you, and keep in touch with them and do all the things that we should be doing, and stay inside.
Thanks, Matt. Check out Blue Bantha Milk Co. For more great Star Wars talk over there. It's a lot of fun, as always. And as I promised, we got Andrew Fantasia coming up. Now he's going to give us a review, or not a review. So this is more of a recommendation. He's going to recommend a movie to watch. If you're you're just like, I love Star Wars, but you've watched the movies a billion times. You finished Clone Wars, Rebel. There's a lot of Star Wars to watch. I don't think you could burn through it. But if you do, but you're like, oh, I really want to watch things that the cast and crew members associated with Star Wars have made that's not Star Wars related, we're going to give you that. So here's Andrew with his pick for this week.
Hey, scumbags, Andrew Fantasia here, and I've got a quarantine recommendation for you. We got to come up with a better name. Isolation recommendation, at least that rhymes, I don't know. But you're stuck at home. You want to watch stuff. You want to have fun. You're a Star Wars fan, but there's only so many times you're going to be watching Star Wars. So here are some alternatives. We're going to offer some to you, and these are going to have something to do with Star Wars, so it's not a whole different ballpark here. So I have an alternative for you today, an isolation suggestion, and it is this. This is Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. This is one of my all-time favorite comedies. I think it came out in 1988. Yes, 88. There it is right there. And there's a couple Star Wars connections in this. First and foremost, Palpatine is in it. Ian McDiarmid. This is the only other thing I have ever seen him in. He shows up as a butler in Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. And the movie itself was directed by Yoda. Frank Oz directed this film. It's literally Yoda and Palpatine, the pinnacles of light and dark side, together in one movie. You've probably heard of it because it's a pretty famous movie and it's very old now. But if you haven't heard of it, well, I'm going to give you a little brief summary of what it's all about. The title is Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, and that's exactly what the movie is given to you. It's giving you these two guys right here, Michael Caine and Steve Martin. Man, I miss Steve Martin. He doesn't work anymore. I miss you, Steve. Come back. Anyway, these two are con artists. They're very good con artists. Michael Caine is pretty much one of the best in the world. Steve Martin is trying to take his place, and he kind of becomes his apprentice and is like, teach me how you con people. And the two of them decide to do this little competition where they find this naive young woman and they decide we're going to con her out of her money. The first one that she gives her money to is the winner, and the other one has to admit defeat and walk away. So it's just these two guys being conniving little bastards and lying to this poor woman and trying to get money out of her using tactics and sympathy and all this crazy stuff, which there's no way I'm spoiling for you here. But it's fun on the bun. You get to see these two in the top of their form. Comedic gold from start to finish. Frank Oz is one hell of a director, and you're going to have a lot of fun with Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Unfortunately, I don't think it's streaming anywhere, as far as I know. I haven't checked a lot of places, but I've checked Netflix and I've checked like on-demand, cable on-demand videos. It's not there, but you know what? This is an old DVD. I'm sure you can find it on Amazon, or I don't know if Sunrise Records has a place where you can order DVDs online and have them delivered. They should, because I don't want Sunrise to go out of business. I don't want Amazon to be the only place where you buy DVDs. But pick up a copy of Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. You won't be disappointed. If you like 80s comedies, boom, right there. So that's my isolation recommendation for the day. Thanks, scumbags. Talk to you soon.
And joining me now is Robin Vogt from the Brick City Blockade. Robin, thanks for joining me. Good morning. Bright suns to you.
Hey, good morning, folks. Good morning, Rebel Scum and all you scumbags out there. It was such a great honor being the voice to kick it off on the last one. But I'm actually here in the flesh, which anytime James tells me, hey, you mind popping on, I am always welcome.
There's no choice. It's just like, you're on today.
There's no choice.
You're on today. And I have like this phone, I beep you and you can't stop it. And you're like, oh, we'll do it. Fine.
I'm a house arrest.
Yeah, well, we all are.
Right. Oh, there we go.
You talked about it a little bit yesterday, but how are you coping with this isolation, this quarantine that's going on throughout the world right now?
Yeah, I think a lot of people who are able to listen know my perspective, but just to kind of simplify it down, I think one of the things that's been probably the most eye-awakening is talking to others who are also in this situation. And, you and I were just jabbing about it before we started doing this, things that we're faced with every day, things that we have to come to terms with, but also the ability to stay at home, watch out for the ones that we care for, and be able to get done what we need to get done in life. And we have that opportunity now, and it's tough at times. It really is. But we find our way. I got Disney Plus. I've been watching Clone Wars.
Yeah.
I go back through episode 1, 2, and 3 consistently, looking for things before we get our next episode. And there's stuff for us to do. We're very lucky. We're very lucky as a fandom.
Yeah, it's not like there's ever a perfect time for this, but at least we are equipped with technology that can assist us. Like we were talking about homeschooling right now, and teachers teaching virtually across the internet. So Disney Plus, Netflix streaming services are around. Ebooks, so you don't have to touch books now. The libraries are closed. So there's a lot of resources at our fingertips that weren't there, 10, 15 even years ago, if you think about it. Like, because right now I was thinking, I want to read it. I wanted to read a book, and I was like, you can't go to a bookstore. And I said, wait, I have an e-reader, which is and I easily download it, read it right there. So we live in a time where it's not impossible to just shut the doors from civilization for a little while, from the outside world, and let's all get in. Let's see this thing pass, and we'll come through it. So it's good.
It's so true.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so true. And again, I think one of the best things that we can do is continue to talk about it. One of the worst things you can do is just be silent, sit where you are, and just let the time go. We got people, we got a community. There's always people that are willing to listen to what you have to say. And James, as much as I may drive James up the wall with some of the things that I post on social media, he's going nuts. I totally said that Admiral Akbar should have died in The Last Jedi, and it threw him off the wall, right?
I thought he should have died in The Force Awakens. I was like, he should he should have been Lord Santeca. That was always my thing. People wanted to be Holdo. I'm like, he should have been Lord Santeca. He's like, it's a trap.
Hashtag Star Wars opinions from home.
Yeah, that's what's happening here. These are Star Wars opinions from home. It's bright and early in the morning. But yesterday, Making Star Wars, Jason Ward revealed to the Twitterverse and the universe and the websiteverse that a certain 80s action star would be cast in Mandalorian Season 2, which kind of falls on the heels of Slash Films' rumor report that Ahsoka would be in Season 2. But this is Michael Biehn from Aliens, from Terminator, from everything in the 80s that you can think of, will be appearing in the Mandalorian Season 2. There's not many details on who he is playing. However, Making Star Wars, Jason Ward believes that he will be a bounty hunter from the Mando's past. So when you first heard this news, Robin, what were your first thoughts about Michael Biehn joining Mando Season 2?
I mean, just all those films and everything that he was involved with 80s films. I talk with Sean Michaud all the time. He's like the resident 80s movie talk guy at Brick City Blockade, and I haven't gotten his full opinion yet, so stay tuned. I'll be posting about that, and he'll be sharing that. But I just from talking with him in the past about a lot of these actors, they have a unique style. 80s filmmaking was very unique to that time individually, and I think Dave Filoni, of course, handling this project. What did we say the first time we saw The Mandalorian was like, and there were so many spin-offs of like an 80s style TV show with this show. So to bring him on and to have him play possibly a bounty hunter, like Jason Ward is saying, I think is a really cool aspect. The more people, we got our rumors with Rosario Dawson coming to play Ahsoka, but I think the more people, recognizable faces that we can add to this series, the more stream-worthy this becomes, the more mainstream this becomes to not just Star Wars fans, but to media in general and the average, streaming TV watcher. So it's great, I think, for Disney. It's great for Dave to bring on somebody like this, and he's a really cool actor from that time period.
Underused nowadays too. I really loved.
Totally.
I love that it's Carl Weathers, Michael Biehn, but then I'm thinking about Gina Carano, who's basically the Schwarzenegger of the crew now. Like,
she is.
He was bodybuilder, but she's a mixed martial artist. She's the tough one of the crew, and they're the actors surrounding her, the tough actors surrounding the tough non-actor who could in real life kick all their butts. So I love that it is like more and more 80s, because they don't do that much. Well, I mean, they kind of do. John Cena's playing Vin Diesel's brother of Fast 9, part of the Fast saga. I don't know if you know
Fast
this
Saga.
Fast Saga.
Yeah, I feel like they stole that idea from something. I don't know why.
I just love it. It's the Fast Saga. No kidding. It's like, what, there's another saga? Oh, it's awesome.
Oh.
But I was thinking that it's like great cast. Apparently, in the same report, he reveals that Bill Burr will be returning as well. So do you think there's a chance that Michael Bihn's character will be part of the Bill Burr, that group of were they like mercenaries that kind of turned on Amanda?
Mercenaries. Yeah, the ones that want their dunks right there. First thing in the morning, right here.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. And I hadn't even thought about that, was that we didn't see really the last of that crew, I don't think.
Well,
there wasn't a reason. Well, that's just it. They all survived. And there wasn't, I talked with a lot of people. They're like, it kind of felt like filler. That episode, it just didn't feel right with the series. And I'm like, excuse me, we're talking about Dave Filoni, the master of you calling it filler and him turning it into something later on. So it feels like that, and I could totally see that happen.
I've seen a lot of people lately saying that was their least favorite episode of the Mando, and I'm like, really? Because I remember when it debuted, I was like, I think at that point it was my favorite episode. The third episode, I think, was probably the best. But for me, my personal favorite is the second episode, The Child. There's just something about that episode that, it's like a silent film, but there's just something about that I absolutely adore. But I thought that this episode, which was the sixth one in the series, I still am like, that one was great. And they don't kill them off. And just like you said, Dave Filoni, the master of everything happens for a reason. This episode exists for a reason. Space whales exists because we need them to end this series. Whatever you think is, and that's why the gunslinger episode, which for me was the weakest one of the first, personal opinion, the weakest one of the series. It was still good. I still liked it, but it's like, well, but the point of that episode is Cara Dune, right?
Yeah.
So there's always a purpose for everything. There is no such thing as filler, even though it feels like filler. There is a reason for it. The egg episode, which is my favorite one, people have said to me that they're like, it's just filler. I'm like, yes, but it also establishes the bond between the Mando and the child, Baby Yoda, the asset, whatever you want to call him. That's the one where you get that bonding moment. And oh my God, it's so good. I just love it. I just love it.
The minute that he comes back with whatever this creature has that they're so interested in, and they just break it open, it's like an open egg, and they're just scooping it out. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is genius right now.
The Cadbury cream egg. Oh, so good.
Why hasn't Lucasfilm gotten into with Cadbury right now to like do that around Easter time?
Well, I mean, their factories are closed right now, so they couldn't even if they want. But that's a great point. They should have released that one.
I appreciate that.
And that one would have been great. I got my nieces and nephews. They're still Kinder eggs for Star Wars, and Cadbury cream egg, Mandalorian style. What was that creature called?
Oh my goodness.
Hold on, I'm gonna Google it because it's on the. It's Mandalorian rhino creature. I can see right now Rural Farm Boy in the comments telling us what it is. What is the rhino creature in the Mandalorian Chapter 2? The rhino creature. Just tell me what he's called. He's from the planet Yisia. Mudhorn. Oh, got the Mudhorn.
Mudhorn.
Yeah, it's such an easy.
The one he was covered in mud.
I actually thought that. Yeah, exactly. I thought that it was the one from Attack of the Clones.
Oh yeah, I saw a lot of people being like, "Oh my goodness, look at this prequel mention here."
Yeah, yeah. I was really hoping that it would be the one from. What was that one called? Akle, Reek, and Nexu.
Yeah, was that a reek? Is that what that was called?
I guess it's a reek.
Probably what it smells like.
It definitely looks like it does. I hope we get more prequel stuff. I love that the droids are in it. But Michael Biehn playing bounty hunters. Here's something that just kind of caught me. Is it plausible that Michael Biehn is the character that we see at the end of the Ming-Na Wen episode who walks up to her deceased body? Do you think he could be that character?
Yeah, I mean, there were so many different people that are like, listen to the jingling. It sounds like Boba Fett. Mm-hmm. And it was like, hold on, wait a second. Whoa. They wouldn't do that right away. Number one. Number two, I think there's definitely some eeriness to the end of that. And it's told for a reason to let us be left on a cliffhanger for a later time.
Yeah.
So if it could be related to that, yeah. I mean, there's just countless bounty hunters that you could just kind of run through your head too, like that it could possibly be. I mean, I don't know if they pull somebody from, a legend style, like any of the bounty hunters that Dash Rendar had run across, like take the concept from that and use that for a new character, because Pablo Hidalgo has this very vast library that he can use and pull from in different ways to create characters, but ones that we can also, as diehard Star Wars fans here who have read all the novels that are considered legend now, kind of look back at and be like, oh my goodness, they directly pulled from that to create this character, which I think would be cool.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I have one other thought right now, and I'm just Googling it because I'm looking because I'm getting excited now. It's Michael Biehn. And Michael Biehn, we all know him. He's great, but he hasn't done anything in a while. He's not like the household name. You ask a 17-year-old, they're not going to know who he is or care necessarily. Right. Is there a chance now that, like you said, when that character came in, it was like, oh, listen to the jingle, it's Boba Fett. Okay, but you know what? Boba Fett, as far as we know, is dead, right? So let's just say they're working under it that he's dead, because if you bring him back, then you have a lot of explaining to do, and then maybe you piss off a lot of fans, maybe you don't. You don't know how it plays out, right? So let's just say, for argument's sake, that Boba Fett is dead. Sarlacc Pit has him forever.
Yeah.
You have an actor like Michael Biehn who could play various roles. And I know this character has a specific, distinct voice, but we don't know anything yet. But what if he's playing Cad Bane? And what if Cad Bane is the one who's tracking the Mando at the end of that episode?
Now, I'm trying to remember, going back into Clone Wars lore, some of the stuff that Dave Filoni wanted to do. If Cad, and I'm trying to think back, because I think Cad Bane was originally supposed to be killed off.
He was by Boba Fett, I believe, but that never happened. Yeah,
never happened. So here we go again with Dave Filoni wanting to accomplish things in his run here with Lucasfilm that he wasn't able to before. He's doing it with Clone Wars. Can he do that with The Mandalorian? That's a really good perspective on that. I hadn't even thought about that.
And I don't know about you, but I am all for Cad Bane in live action.
Ooh,
if you could bring Cad Bane,
if you're doing that, you might as well bring him back.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, is Michael Biehn the guy you want to get to play someone like Cad Bane? Because you get, but you know what? At the same time, I think that character, he's so intricate that you might want somebody that is a decent actor in that to portray that part.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You need somebody to get into that role who's going to do the studying, like Michael Biehn has always done in his roles. Really study how to act, how to push that character forward. I mean, that's just how it is. And then no better person, I think, if you want to do it than him, because he's got the experience. You could bring somebody new in, and I know Star Wars is genius at bringing in new faces and really trying to make them into the character that they're supposed to be. But at the same time, you look at it and you're like, hey, you know what? The more recognizable voices and faces that we can have, well, I don't know in his case, but recognizable names when you click on IMDb and you're like, oh, sweet, look who's in this. The more you can have for that and the fans, the more marketable it becomes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, then, look, and also if he takes this, I mean, he's in The Mandalorian season 2, so his life is set now. He can do all the conventions he wants going forward. He's all good to go.
True.
It'd be so good. You know what? Do you hope that we get like a flashback of more of the Bounty Hunter Guild from before they were all deceased, before they all got killed off by the Mandalores? Or are you good with what we got? Are you satisfied with what we got?
I mean, I'm satisfied to a certain point. I think there's always that deep down inside, I want more kind of attitude that we always carry with us as Star Wars fans. But I mean, if they're able to, bring in a character that we've been able to recognize from the past, and therefore say, we're going to retell a little bit more about this guild that happened way before this. Yeah, you know what? Fine, go back and do it. I never have any complaints. The more content, the better at this point.
One thing I keep thinking of is Bob Iger's words, and I've mentioned this so many times now, but Bob Iger said on a conference call, to shareholders call, which feels like it was 800,000 years ago now, a different lifetime, but he said they're going to take characters from The Mandalorian that were going to be introduced on The Mandalorian and spin them off into their own shows.
Right.
So I feel like Ahsoka is clearly one of those characters that they're going to do that. Now you have Michael Biehn, who, as much as he's Michael Biehn, his career isn't, in full flight right now. I'm sure he has a lot of downtime nowadays. So if he does a bounty hunter character, that's exciting stuff. Unless he gets killed off, in a one-off like Ming-Na Wen or whatever. But if he's playing a character like Cad Bane, then all of a sudden even if Cad Bane let's say Cad Bane gets killed off by the Mando in an episode or two or whatever, you could still give us a Cad Bane series because you have all that time between the Clone Wars Cad Bane and the Mando Cad Bane to give us. And people, if he resonates with fans in this season of The Mandalorian, they're going to want more of this character. And knowing Cad Bane, people are going to want more of this character.
Brain is firing up. I think fumes are starting to come out here. Darth Maul, the latest comic series. Cad Bane is attached with Darth Maul. Aura Singh a little bit. You're getting into... who was it in particular? Tobias Beckett took out Aura Singh and all that. You're getting into that. And it's like, okay, we've wanted Kira and Maul series. And now if you insert Cad Bane into that and Michael playing that, now you've got a whole other thing that these people who are saying, and I agree with them, make Solo too. You could be getting into that territory if you start making those connections there and bringing it in.
Absolutely. I don't think we're going to get a Solo 2 in let's say in live and theatrically, but they could work it in a way where you get it, but you get it as a series or various series, and it's never actually referred to as Solo 2, but you know what it is. It's continuing the stories of the characters within the Solo film. They have the opportunity to do so much here, and I just hope that they understand that and they abuse it as much as possible. Abuse it.
That's what Bob Iger said. When he left, he was like, "I want to really focus on the creative side of things." This was the guy who sat down with George and said, "What can we do to bring Star Wars to Disney?" This guy wants to be on the creative side of things. He's seen what he's been able to do with Star Wars, what he's been able to give to Kevin Feige with Marvel, essentially, and really spearhead that. So, I mean, if he wants to work on the creative side, kudos to him because he knows how to do it now. And that with Kathleen Kennedy and Dave, it's a dream team scenario with Bob being added to that creative side.
And that's the thing. You keep playing with characters that Filoni knows so well and Favreau by association would know so well. And I know people would argue we want new characters, and I get that, but I just feel like when you have an animated character, they're great and all, but they're not real until they're in live action. And I don't mean that disparagingly. I don't mean to put down the character like Ahsoka, but I just mean that there is a whole group of fans, a large majority of the fans that don't watch the animated stuff, that don't take the quote unquote cartoons seriously. And when you can transfer them into live action, all of a sudden they become bigger than they could ever be in animated form, and possibilities become endless, I believe.
Yeah. And I think the one thing that made that so real for me, exactly what you said there, James, because it's so true, is when at the end of The Rise of Skywalker, when we hear the voices of the past Jedi and you hear Ahsoka's voice. So how funny is it now that we're talking about her coming into this role, but you also hear Kanan Jarrus's voice. And how soon is it? And this is a question I pose to the fandom. How soon is it that we don't see those animated characters like a Sabine, like a Kanan from the Star Wars Rebels series start to take form in the canon in different places? It's one of those things.
Absolutely. Man, Kanan in live action would be great. People like it. Yeah, and I mean, Freddie Prinze Jr. could even play him, really. Like, if you think,
what are you doing?
I don't see why he couldn't. But he's not playing a Mandalorian season 2. We know that much. That is a fact. We know that. But we know that we know that Michael Biehn though will be on Mandalorian season 2, playing some kind of bounty hunter. If he's not Cad Bane, do you hope that he is either another bounty hunter or just a made-up character? Because he's probably, let's be honest, he's probably not Cad Bane.
No, the reality is that that's just our fandom running wild because we're stuck inside so often. But I think, in general, I think he's going to end up being something new, something different. They're going to pull, like Filoni has done in so many different ways, maybe even pull from some of Ralph McQuarrie's concepts and try to create a character that the fans can be like, oh, look at that ode that they're making there. Look at the character development that they're building that we've already seen in some other form. And something new is always welcome. But secretly, you've got me hashtag Cad Bane wagon right now.
The Cad Bane wagon. Yeah, I hope he is somebody new. A nice, cool character. Because Dave Filoni did say the reason why IG-11 wasn't IG-88 is because, there are legends novels and stories about IG-88, and they didn't want to take away from any of that from the fans, right? They didn't want fans to be like, well,
which is nice to hear.
Yeah, exactly. There's a caring of it. And then look, it could be legends all at once, but he is also I believe Dave Filoni also wrote the line, there's always truth in legends. So, I think you respect that stuff. Now, if you get caught in, I think it's still important that the old novels, the old stories were legends, because when you're telling the stories of Luke, Han, and Leia, you got to redo them for the movies. So that completely made sense. But when a character like IG-88, there's no need for that. There are some of those stories that could remain canon, not legends. So I appreciated that. I'm fine with that. You just give us the familiar look and feel of this character and we can move past that. So that's great for me. So I do kind of hope that he is his own character, unless he's a Dave Filoni created character. Or anybody else that wrote on Star Wars that created a character that is working on Mandalorian. Otherwise, I want him to be his own unique character, which is what I think they'll be giving us. I think he's going to be probably like related to Bill Burr or something, like his brother or something.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
His brother, Cad Bane.
Some more Bostonian love. You're right, his brother, Cad Bane, with a Boston accent.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Cad Bane, I'm a stormtrooper.
Go park your speed in a different spot there, Cad. Huh?
Hey, Cad Bane. I don't know what that was.
You have your Boston accent? You know what?
Pretty good.
For a man from Canada, I'll take it.
How much clam chowder have you had today?
Chowder. Oh, man, I have not had a good cup of clam chowder in a long time. It's been a long time since I've been down by the dock, that's for sure.
Look at that, teaching me how to do it right here. All right, let's wrap this up. I've taken enough time of your morning. What'd you have for breakfast today? Can you tell me? Put you on the spot. What did you have? Did you have a banana? You had clam chowder. Clam chowder.
No, we have seafood chowder. No, I enjoyed 2 eggs over easy on some just plain white toast and the little twist, a little bit of Frank's Red Hot on those eggs.
Frank's,
yes. Crack them open with that hot sauce. Always good with cups of coffee. Always need it.
You need it now, working from home, being at home, isolated at home. You either need all the coffee or no coffee. You either want. I'm not sure which one's the right amount yet. Yeah, it's one or the other. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me on Bright Suns. Why don't you tell everybody about Brick City Blockade and how to find you? If they don't know, they should know, but whatever.
They should. I know Rule Farm Boy's down there. He's like, I already know these guys. They're on my subscriber list. No, you guys, you probably know about us, but we've been on a siesta for a little bit. We're getting back into it again. Our lives are finally settling down, not by our choice, but by the world's choice. And we're finally getting back to some podcasting. So we'll be back on Words of the Wills on Facebook Live starting at 7 p.m. over on Facebook. Myself, Andrew Garish, bunch of different topics, Star Wars, music. Maybe we'll even talk about some Cantina music, some stuff we want to play on our own. You never know. We might feature something. And you guys can follow us over on Twitter at BrickCitySWPC. Subscribe to our podcast, of course, across all those great podcasting formats. And you know what? We share out Rebel Scum. They share out us. So there's always something out there for you guys to click on and enjoy.
Yeah, there's a lot of content out there for you guys to spend your days with us. All right, but we're going to wrap this show up the Bright Suns episode for whatever Wednesday, whatever it is over. We hope you guys all have a great day. We'll be back at 12 p.m. Eastern with our lunch live stream, and then 7 p.m. Eastern because we want to go head to head with your show on Facebook. We got our episode 162 drops on that one, and we're talking underrated characters, top 5 underrated characters on that one. So you might want to give us your top 5 underrated characters later on. But until then, Robin, thank you so much for joining me. Everybody else, Bright Suns, good morning, and may the force of others be with you.
Always.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.